Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn on the importance of health and safety in the workplace with a special focus on small businesses. This session is generously sponsored by the YMCA of Niagara. My name is Mishka Balsam, and it's a pleasure to actually host this webinar today. In Canada, small to medium-sized enterprises make up 99% of all businesses, employing nearly 8 million workers. This highlights the critical role of SMEs play in our economy. However, small businesses often face unique challenges in implementing effective health and safety programs. Prioritizing health and safety are a legal obligation, but at the same time, it's also a strategic advantage. It leads to improved employee morale, increased productivity, and reduced costs associated with workplace incidents. Today, we will explore practical strategies and resources tailored to help small businesses create safer work environments. By fostering a culture of safety, we protect people and ensure the continued success and sustainability of our own business. So thank you very much for joining us. I look forward to today's discussion. But before we get started, if you wish to enable live transcript, you can find that option on your Zoom screen. If you're unable to locate it, please just let us know. Utilize the chat function, and we can see all of your comments on our end. This session is recorded, and all resources will be made available to you afterwards. But before we begin, I want to highlight our generous sponsor. Our Lunch and Learn series is proudly sponsored by the YMCA Employment and Immigrant Services of Niagara, a steadfast partner in our sessions. Their support is invaluable, offering employment programs that assist job seekers at all levels and providing extensive employment services for employers. And now, without further ado, let's hear from Iris Corrales with YMCA of Niagara. Iris, over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mishka, for that warm welcome. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's always such a pleasure to see everybody here, even though I can't see you. But to be able to join these Lunch and Learns as time permits, I always find them so beneficial. So as Mishka said, my name is Iris, and I work with the YMCA of Niagara, specifically in our Employment and Immigrant Services portfolio. We have a lot of programs that deal specifically with newcomers looking for work, internationally trained professionals looking for work, just anybody looking for work, small businesses, employers, and we do our best to be a light in the community for anybody who is looking for resource or information for how to move forward, specifically with employment. We greatly appreciate the work that the GNCC does for our region here in Niagara, and we are pleased to continue to sponsor these sessions. I think the topic today is very timely about health and safety, especially when we've been having all these snowstorms and freezing rain. So very excited to listen in. So Mishka, thank you so much. And thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I very much look forward to the presentation.
Iris, it's such an honor to partner with you each and every time we are holding Lunch and Learn. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you for that. And thank you for all that you do in the community for employees, but employers at the same time.
Thank you so much.
Great. And now it's my great honor actually to introduce our presenter today. Stella Nicastro-Grino is an accomplished account representative with workplace safety and prevention services and has over 18 years of experience championing health and safety. Stella has worked in a variety of roles at WSPS. For the past 5 years, she has proudly served on the small business team, where she collaborates closely with small businesses and ensures that they're equipped with the essential knowledge, tools, and resources needed to cultivate a secure work environment. Stella has also collaborates with various community organizations to share the many free, simple safety solutions that they have available for all businesses. Today's format is going to be meant to be an interactive one. We're going to start out with a presentation, will probably last around 35 to 40 minutes, followed by a Q&A session. Some of you have already provided us with some of your questions, which is great to see, but please utilize the chat function and I will see all the questions coming in, and we're more than committed actually to getting to all of them. And on that note, it is my great honor to actually pass today's webinar over to you, Stella, and we'll connect back once we get to the Q&A session.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful introduction. Great to be here. Love collaborating with the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. So um, just bear with me one moment while I bring up the presentation really quick here, and we'll get started. Okay, thumbs up. You can see my screen. Good to go. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to join us today. Today, we're going to be talking about empowering small businesses with health and safety resources. Again, a really special thank you to Mishka, Karina, and the entire team at the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. We love our partnership and collaboration with the association. So, again, my name is Stella. I'm an account representative with the small business team at WSPS. And in a nutshell, my job is to bring health and safety awareness and to help small businesses along their health and safety journey, providing them with free resources. So let's get into it here. On today's agenda, we're going to be talking to you about WSPS and our system partners, who they are, our different roles. We're going to be talking to you about our Small Business Center and provide you with all those free resources, tools, and templates on our Small Business Center. We're going to provide a live demonstration and showcase our handbook generator, which creates customizable and compliance friendly orientation training handbooks. We're going to talk to you about the benefits of not only the handbook, but also our small business advisory service and how you can register for that free service to again support you along your health and safety journey. So let's get into it then. In case you've never heard of us before, Workplace Safety and Prevention Services is a not for profit organization committed to protecting Ontario workers and businesses. We serve 171,000 member firms and 4.2 million workers in the agriculture, manufacturing, and service sectors. We offer health and safety expertise, consulting, training, and resources. And our mandate includes helping businesses understand their risk and legal obligation to stay in compliance to build those safer workplaces. We're also a proud partner in Ontario's occupational health and safety system. So the system is made up of different partners, and each partner has a very unique role to play when implementing the occupational health and safety strategy. Our system partners include the WSIB, the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, and the Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training, and Skills Development, along with the other three health and safety associations in the province of Ontario. And again, we all have a very unique role to play. So the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, essentially their role is worker compensation prevention, and back to work supports. The Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training, and Skills Development, their role is legislation, enforcement, and prevention. And then, of course, you have WSPS. We are in the business of prevention. So we want to prevent those injuries and accidents from happening at the workplace before the ministry comes calling, and certainly before something happens at the workplace where you need to go to the WSIB and make that claim. So we are definitely system partners and we make up Health and Safety Ontario. The Occupational Health and Safety Act is the foundational piece of health and safety legislation in Ontario. It's also called the Green Book for various reasons. It sets out all the roles and responsibilities, legal authority, general principles for workplace parties such as the employer, supervisor, worker, inspectors, Joint Health and Safety Committee, and health and safety representative. So these responsibilities must be carried out according to the law to ensure that health and safety of everyone in the workplace and how to work safely essentially. Regulations are those rules that are specifically detailed legislation for how to work safely in certain environments with certain materials using certain equipment, for example. And I am going to give it a shameless plug here. We do have a copy of the 2025 Occupational Health and Safety Act available on our website, wsps.ca. If you are looking for a copy of that, because you do need to have that posted on your Joint Health and Safety Board, we do have them available for $23, or you can certainly download it for free on the ministry's website. Okay, so why is health and safety important? So here are just some numbers to have you think about why health and safety is important in the province of Ontario. This is a picture of BMO Field. It's a soccer field in Toronto, Ontario. And the capacity of this arena is essentially 28,000 spectators, so 28,000 people. Now, I want you to imagine 7 arenas of the same size. So doing the math on that, 28,000 people times 7 arenas is something like 196,000 people. That is a number of people that get hurt and injured in Ontario every single year. So almost 200,000 people are getting hurt on the job for various reasons in the province of Ontario. And when you really think about it, that number is staggering, right? And we also know that number can certainly be preventable. Those accidents and injuries that are happening, so many of those can be preventable. So this is why it's important to have strong policies and procedures in your workplace and know how to work safe. Let's talk about the IRS, which stands for the Internal Responsibility System. This is the principle behind health and safety law in Ontario. Everybody has a role to play when it comes to health and safety in the workplace. It's the key principle behind the Occupational Health and Safety Act. The Internal Responsibility System focuses on specific duties, rights, and responsibilities, shared obligation of employers, supervisors, workers, Joint Health and Safety Committee, and Health and Safety Representative. So the Occupational Health and Safety Act clearly spells out duties and responsibilities and rights. And of course, the employer having the greatest responsibility, right? So the employer provides that safe work environment, establishing health and safety programs and policies, following all those applicable laws according to the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Supervisors, their role is to communicate, to monitor, and enforce those rules. And of course, workers need to follow those rules and report any concerns to their supervisors or employer. And if you're a larger organization, you're either going to have either a joint health and safety committee or a health and safety representative. And essentially, their role is to monitor the system, make recommendations to the employer, and support communications between all parties. So everybody essentially has a role to play when it comes to health and safety in the workplace. Based on the size of your business, here are some of the legal requirements and when a health and safety representative or a joint health and safety committee is required. So, starting off from 1 to 5 employees, there is no legal requirement for a joint health and safety committee unless your workplace is using designated substances. In this case, you are required to have a GHSC with at least one management rep and one worker rep who's certified. Now, those designated substances, there's certainly a long list of them, but examples of designated substances are things like asbestos, benzene, isocyanates, lead, silica. Again, a very long list of designated substances is certainly available. So if you have that, you need a joint health and safety committee. If you do not have a designated substance in your workplace, you are not required to either have a joint health and safety committee or a health and safety representative. Now, things change. 6 to 19 workers, you are legally required to have a health and safety representative among the worker reps at the workplace who doesn't exercise any managerial functions. And I see this error a lot in small businesses. Managers, supervisors, and even the employer think that they can take on this role, and that's not the case. It needs to be a worker representative working for the worker reps. Larger organization, 20 to 49 employees, you are required to legally have a joint health and safety committee of at least 2 members. One needs to be a certified worker rep and one needs to be a certified management representative. And of course, the larger you get, 50 plus, you are required again to have a joint health and safety committee of 4 members. You are always required to have more worker representatives than management representatives. So in this case, you're going to have 4 people on the committee. 2 are going to be certified, 1 worker rep, 1 management rep, but 3 of those are going to be worker representatives. Okay. In addition to legal duties, workers also have 3 rights under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. This is certainly the right to know. So workers definitely have the right to know what work-related injuries or hazards they're going to be exposed to in the workplace. They also have the right to participate. Perhaps you have a worker who wants to be part of either the Health and Safety Committee or the Joint Health and Safety Committee. It's all about playing a part when it comes to health and safety. And they also have the right to refuse unsafe work. And yes, if a worker feels that they are exposing themselves to a hazard, a danger, they can certainly refuse unsafe work. And this is really all about talking to your supervisor or your employer about that danger or that risk and working through the process to make things better or improve things at the workplace. Understanding the different hazard categories is really important to recognizing potential dangers in the workplace. You need to know what a hazard is, and in simple terms, a hazard is anything that could hurt or harm you. And there are 6 hazards when it comes to the hazard category. Um, and so diving into them a little bit. So let's start off with physical hazards. When we talk about physical hazards, these include things like extreme temperatures. So somebody working in extremely hot temperatures in the summertime or extremely cold temperatures in the wintertime. This could be a noisy environment, vibration, radiation. So those are the type of hazards when it comes to physical hazards. Biological hazards, they're living organisms that cause illness or disease, such as bacteria, mold, viruses, that type of thing. MSDs, musculoskeletal disorders. So, injuries to the musculoskeletal system, including things like muscles, tendons, ligaments, nerves, joints, and they're often caused by repetitive movement or improper workstation setup. Psychosocial hazards, factors that affect mental, emotional, and physical well being. These can be things like workplace harassment, stress, violence. Safety hazards. When we talk about safety hazards, these are things that can cause loss of life, like slips, trips, and fall hazards, inappropriate machine guarding, equipment malfunctioning hazards. And then finally, we have chemical hazards, toxic substances that cause bodily harm, including gases, vapors, dust, and fumes. So, hazards are present in every workplace, and effectively managing these hazards is really the key to preventing injuries and illnesses. So, here are some of the ways that employers can control hazards to make your workplace safer. This is called the hierarchy of controls, and basically, it's a framework that helps prioritize hazard control methods by tackling hazards in specific order to create a safer work environment. So, first would be elimination, right? So, eliminating that hazard right off the bat, identifying and removing the source of danger. Then we have substitution. So you're replacing that hazard, or you're replacing that for another alternative. Implementing engineering controls. This is really about design and building solution and minimizing that risk. Providing training, right? So educating employees on safe practices and procedures is always beneficial. Uh, Identifying those hazards and training is super important. Enhancing procedures, so developing and enforcing better safety protocols. And then finally, we have the use of personal protective equipment. So we want to make sure that everyone is using their PPE to protect themselves against hazards. So, really, by following these steps, employers can significantly reduce workplace hazards and ensure safe work environment for all employees. So now WSPS is dedicated to helping small business owner achieve their full potential. We have something called our Small Business Center, which offers free tools and resources to keep your businesses on track with health and safety information. You can certainly scan the QR code and follow along with me. This is essentially a snapshot of the landing page and what it looks like. I will point out that all the information and resources that you're going to find here are free. 98% of them are free. So most of them are free. um, Breaking it down a little bit, our safety roadmap, this is where you're going to find a lot of information, tools, resources, templates. And this section is broken into 3 sections: 1 to 5, 6 to 19, and 20 to 49 employees. The information found here is specific to that size of organization. We also have understanding health and safety. This is where you're going to find and access case studies and articles. Under the additional support, you're going to explore small business advisory service, which I'll talk about in just a couple of minutes. This is also where you're going to find information about the WSIB Health and Safety Excellence Program. The WSIB Health and Safety Excellence Program provides Ontario businesses to improve workplace safety. It offers customized support from WSIB approved providers, and of course, WSIB being one of those approved providers. Rebates and incentives on WSIB premiums. So you implement the program into your workplace. You show WSIB that health and safety is living and breathing in your organization. There's 41 topics to choose from. And really the goal is to reduce those injuries and accidents and to boost workplace safety culture. So for more information on that, certainly check out that link. And then finally, under the What's New section, This is where you're going to stay up to date with the latest tools and resources, including our Health and Safety Handbook Generator, Small Biz Bites videos, podcast episodes, and training for health and safety representative. And again, all the resources that you're going to find on our Small Business Center are free. So certainly have a look at that. So when we take a little bit of a deeper dive into the safety roadmap, this is what it looks like. The safety roadmap covers anywhere from 9 to 11 key topics, depending again on the size of your organization. We're not going to dive into every single one of them today, but I do want to highlight a couple of the key ones. No matter which roadmap you choose, we always want you to start off by being able to spot the gaps in your health and safety program, and you can do that by using our safety checklist tool. So again, regardless of the size, we have a safety checklist on 1 to 5 employees, 6 to 19, or 20 to 49, and it really helps you identify what you have in place, perhaps some of your gaps, and helping you with that. Also, I wanted to discuss our duties and responsibilities. So this is where you're going to find that on the roadmap. When you click onto the duties and responsibilities section, essentially these are the topics that you're going to find. You're going to have an overview, there's going to be videos and downloads and training and e-courses. What I really want to focus on here is the mandatory health and safety awareness training. It's funny, I talk to small businesses all the time, and nobody knows about this mandatory training. It is a mandatory training through the Ministry of Labor, Immigration Training and Skills Development. Every worker, every supervisor in the province of Ontario needs to take this training. It's a free training, and essentially, it's an excellent resource for both new and current workers. It serves as a comprehensive refresher on essential topics, including a detailed review of worker rights, a clear explanation of worker duties and responsibilities. Excuse me, and an in-depth discussion about the internal responsibility system, along with a basic understanding of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So oftentimes when I'm talking to small business owners and they have no idea where to start, I say start here. So review the health and safety awareness training. Again, every worker, every supervisor, free training on the ministry's website. Um, and when you complete this training, you get a certificate of completion, which will have your name on it. You can certainly print it out, or you could save a digital copy for it, and this would be a training record that you've done that training. I do also want to tell the story about my kids too. So I have 2 children. I have 2 teenagers. A couple of summers ago, when they were, pardon me, when they were looking for positions, I actually had them sit down at 2 separate times to do this training because I wasn't too sure if they were ever going to land at a company that took health and safety seriously. And obviously, me being in the industry for so long and hearing all the stories and all the things that can happen, I definitely wanted them to sit down and know just their basic rights and responsibilities. So if you even have teenagers or somebody new in the industry, the health and safety awareness training would definitely be a great starting point. My kids did the training. We printed off the certificates. We attached them to their resumes. Sure enough, both of them were able to find positions that summer. And I like to think that, doing that extra little step showed the employer that they're, serious about health and safety, working safe, and, wanted to have a positive impact on their business. All right, so before we dive into the benefits of the Health and Safety Handbook Generator, let's first discuss, well, who needs to be trained? The short answer to this is everybody needs to be trained in the workplace, tailored to their specific roles or the hazards that they could be exposed to, right? So new workers, we want to definitely highlight the importance of safety. Again, like my kids, right? Their first job, they don't know what to ask. You don't know what you don't know if nobody tells you. And then also young workers. So young workers have a high injury rate the first month on the job. So typically young workers will have an incident or accident 30 days on the job. So it's so important to train those new and young workers. Returning workers, someone who's been away from the workforce for a little while, you certainly want to review key information because of their extended leave. Supervisors, right? So supervisors recognizing hazards and enforcing policies. You want to make sure you have a competent supervisor as per the Occupational Health and Safety Act, someone who's qualified by knowledge, training, and experience, someone who's familiar with the Occupational Health and Safety Act and the regulations and is aware of those potential dangers in the workplace. Contractors, visitors, and suppliers, you certainly want to hold them to the same standards as an employees because they could be exposed to those same risks in the workplace. And then, of course, temporary workers from agencies, you certainly want to make sure they also receive appropriate training and information as well. Okay, so areas of training to consider. We talked about this, the health and safety awareness for workers and supervisors, always a great starting point. Then you have WMIS, right? So basic understanding if you're working with those designated substances in the workplace, understanding how to work with those materials, proper PPE to use, those safety data sheets. WMIS is also very important to consider. Violence and harassment program, policies and procedures to prevent and address workplace violence and harassment. Emergency plan and evacuation, right? So what happens in emergency? Are your staff members going to know where to go? What's the designated evacuation zone? Where does everybody meet? Personal protective equipment, right? To really understand how to use this properly, to maintain it properly, to replace it when it's wearing and tearing. And then, of course, there's common job hazards and their controls, really identifying and mitigating common workplace hazards. What about first aid locations? Where is your first aid kit? Who are your first aiders? Um, Providing medical assistance before medical assistance arrives is very important. Supervisors, Joint Health and Safety Committee, and Health and Safety Representative, right? Their contact information. Who are they? Making sure they're properly trained, certified, and know what to do in case of an emergency. So all of this might really sound overwhelming, but we definitely have the right tool to help you create an orientation training handbook instantly. We understand that small businesses allocating resources and worker orientation can be really challenging. This is why we're excited to offer you this free tool. It's our Orientation Handbook Generator, and this tool really helps you download and produce employee handbooks instantly. Why do you need the Orientation Handbook? Well, it simplifies compliance with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. It's customizable for your sector and for your company size. It really aids businesses in creating an orientation program instantly. It's easy to produce, free to download, and you can create it and use it over and over again. So it's certainly not a one and done. Okay, so I'm excited to present a live demonstration of our orientation guide. So you can certainly scan the QR code now or just follow along with me. I do want to add a disclaimer that during the demonstration, I'm going to showcase the app to demonstrate the ease and the use of it. But please remember when you're doing it for your own company, please select those options that are relevant to your specific needs, as each business may have different hazards or requirements. Okay, so I'm just going to stop this for a moment, stop sharing. And I'm going to go to this screen and I'm going to share. Okay, I'm hoping that you can see my screen here. This is basically the landing page for the orientation guide. And what we're going to do is as easy as this, 3 steps. We're going to click on the link. We're going to enter our information. We're going to save it. We're going to download your tailor-made handbook. So let's get started. Okay, I would recommend that you register your account because you can always go back and modify your orientation guide. Otherwise, you can do it as a guest, which is what we're going to demonstrate today. But if there is any changes to the orientation guide, you're going to have to start from scratch. So registering an account is always beneficial, but let's do this as a guest today. Okay, so my business name. I have many business names, but today I'm going to be Stella's Cafe. So that's my business name. And it's going to ask you, how many workers do you regularly employ? Well, in my cafe, we have 6 to 19 workers. And it's going to ask you, do you have any of the following designated substances? In my cafe, we do not have any designated substances, so I'm going to say no to that question. Then it's going to ask, do you have any of Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training and Skills Development orders related to health and safety representative? No, we do not. It's going to ask the same question about related to Joint Health and Safety Committee. No, we do not. And one of the reason it asks you that is that's probably one of the top 3 orders that the ministry does right is oftentimes when they go and do inspections in small workplaces, they don't have a health and safety representative in place or a Joint Health and Safety Committee when they are required by law. Okay, then it's going to ask you, what sector is your business in? Service, manufacturing, and agriculture. We are in the service industry. It's going to give you some subcategories. So because we are a cafe, I'm going to say we're restaurant and food services. It's going to ask, do you meet the requirement for Lanoxone in your workplace? So Lanoxone kits are free and available to small business owners, or business owners, I should say. I believe they're available at participating pharmacies. If you feel or know of a potential worker in your workplace that might have an overdose by using opioids, a Lanoxone kit is definitely free and available to you. Perhaps that employee is using them for painkillers because of a past injury, or whatever the case might be. So wouldn't be a bad idea to look into it if you know of it. Definitely get a Lanoxone kit free of charge for your workplace. In our case, we don't have that, so I'm going to say no to that. We're going to continue. Again, it's going to prompt you to register and save the changes, but we're going to keep on going. We're going to expand these categories. So now we're going to talk about commitment to health and safety and prevention of mental harm. Your handbook is included with a generic health and safety policy statement. Would you like to replace this standard content with your own? No, I don't have anything in place. I don't want to replace it with anything. Please provide it for me. Duties and responsibilities, same thing. It's asking you, do you want to replace it with what you already have in place? And no, we do not. So we're making this up from scratch. Worker accountability, we do not have anything to replace it with. Please add it. Health and safety representative, it's going to ask, where will your health and safety inspections be posted or available for employees to look at? Well, mine's going to be located on my health and safety board in the staff room. Expanding general emergency information. What is the shelter place in your location? The shelter place in my location is the back storage room. What's the assembly location? My assembly location is going to be outside in my back parking lot. Emergency contact numbers are located on my health and safety board in the break room. What is your physical address for emergency response services? My physical address is 250 John Street, Niagara on the Lake. Are there any other emergency informations that you would like to add to the handbook? No, but obviously if you do, you want to say yes to that. Let's go into first aid. What is the location of your first aid station? I'm going to say mine is going to be at the front cashier area. Do you have an eye wash station? Nope. Do you have a chemical shower? We do not. It's going to ask you about reporting hazards. It's going to include a generic reporting hazard statement. Would you like to replace it? I do not want to replace it. I want it included. Workplace inspections, generic workplace inspections statement. And this is a legal requirement for if you have 6 or more employees. And we definitely want to include that. And we have nothing. So we're starting from scratch here. Okay, then it's going to give you subcategories, workplace hazards. So remember, I'm a cafe here. So in my cafe, perhaps I have musculoskeletal disorders, those muscles, those tendons, those nerves from standing on my feet all day. Slips, trips, and fall hazards for sure. Material handling, I'm handling those big boxes of coffee beans. Knife hazards, I make sandwiches in my cafe. Contact with hot objects and substances, absolutely. So you certainly want to select what's relevant to your company and your hazards. It's going to ask you if you want to see a full list of hazards. I do not. Would you like to add any hazards? So perhaps in the subcategory, you haven't quite seen a hazard that is relevant to your workplace. You certainly can add that in a little description. Would you like to add any workplace hazards with the handbook? I'm going to say no. Okay. Personal protective equipment. Well, in my cafe, we definitely wear gloves. We definitely wear aprons. And again, you would select whatever is relevant for your business. It's going to ask you, would you like to add any more PPE information? No, we do not. And finally, we're going to talk about workplace violence and harassment. The definitions, it definitely needs to be included. And no, we don't want to replace the actual standard. Okay, here we go. Continue. Boom. It's generated for you. So Stella's Cafe, Employee Health and Safety Handbook. There is the date that we created it on. It's going to give you an overview. It's going to talk about commitment to health and safety and preventing mental harm. As you can see, it automatically populates the information for you, talks about duties and responsibility, an employer, a supervisor, a worker. We're going to talk about worker rights. So you can see how comprehensive this is. And I definitely don't want to go through all of this, but I will just scroll down to the bottom. Right? Remember we selected that musculoskeletal disorder? It's going to talk about an overview of musculoskeletal disorder, what it is, and what the employee responsibility is. Slips, trips, and falls, an overview of that, what the employee's responsibility is. So it goes on and on. So we're just going to scroll down to the very bottom here. And this is where, so as you have employees that come on and you need to have an orientation guide for them, create this for your workplace. You could do one for the front office, for the back office, for someone who's on the road. Um, when you get new employees come on, you would create this. They would review this information. You would talk about any questions that they might have, sign, date it by the employee, sign, dated by the manager, and you would keep this as a training record. Obviously, you can download it, right? And once you have it downloaded, this is what it looks like. And like I said, if you've registered an account, you can go back and make modifications. But because we did it as a guest, it just gives you a PDF copy of it. So, okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that. And I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint here. Okay, this is where I'm just going to take a really quick break, and I'm going to ask, does anyone have any questions about anything that they saw in the handbook or anything that I've covered so far?
Stella, thank you so very much. This is a great demonstration of what is available, and you make it look so easy, which is so easy to work. So just to everyone who's part of this webinar, we are going to make the link and the resources available to you right afterwards, so you have it at your fingertips at any time. I'm going to just look into the chat if you have any questions, but I don't see any questions regarding the demonstration coming in. Just so for everyone, we're going to have just a couple of minutes of a presentation, and then we'll get to the other questions. And I've seen a number of them coming in, so it's really good to see. So
Great. Okay, so I will continue
wonderful.
on then.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's dive into the details and benefits of our fantastic small business advisory service. So, this service is essentially for those small businesses that have less than 20 employees. And really, what the goal is to help those small business owners improve health and safety practices through simple, practical solutions. So, let's dive into some of the details of this program. Okay, so who can benefit from our small business advisory service? Essentially, businesses needing additional support to understand their legal requirements, identifying hazards, or businesses who might need just that little bit of extra coaching and guidance. Those with limited time and budgets for health and safety practices. Businesses looking for expert guidance, we're going to connect you with a Canadian registered safety professional to develop a customized action plan after an on site walkthrough. You'll be matched up with one of our passionate health and safety experts who volunteer their expertise to assist you along your health and safety journey. We have, I think it's something like 150 volunteers across the province of Ontario. Again, they're certified, they're knowledgeable, they're passionate about health and safety, and they really want to help you. Um, Businesses looking for free resources to implement. So this program is free. And of course, businesses wanting that coaching and mentoring from an advisor who can visit their location, assist them with a workplace inspection, and provide them with an action plan for next steps. Now, engaging in the small business advisory service offers several benefits for small business owners. Of course, it's all about enhancing safety. We really want to improve workplace safety with expert guidance, reducing the risk for accidents and injuries. It's all about compliance, right? So ensuring your business meets health and safety regulations, avoiding potential fines and legal issues. Cost savings, preventing accidents that can really save you money on related workplace worker compensation, insurance premiums, and lost productivity. Expert support, right? Access to knowledgeable advisors who could provide tailored advice and practical solutions. Employee well-being, right? A safer workplace boosts not only employee morale and productivity, but it leads to a more positive work environment as well. Long-term resources, you're going to receive a comprehensive program handbook with tools and information that can be used for years to come. And there's, of course, your reputation. So, really demonstrating the commitment to health and safety can really enhance your business's reputation among customers and employees alike. Okay, so what's included in this service? As we mentioned, there's an initial assessment. So, a health and safety expert's going to review your current health and safety practices. They're going to provide you with a customized guidance. So, based on the assessment, the advisor is going to provide tailored advice and practical solutions that are easy to implement and easy to follow. You're going to get that resource handbook. Participants are going to receive the program handbook filled with practical tools and expert advice to share with their workers. And of course, their support. So the advisor will assist you with the implementation and recommended changes and provide follow up support to ensure the improvements are effective. Flexible timing. The program requires about 10 hours of commitment with scheduling that fits not only the business owner, but also the advisor. So 10 hours of free consulting for this service. There is no strings attached to after the 10 hours. It's literally a one and done. Very important too that I wanted to mention is please know that any discussion that happens with your advisor is strictly confidential. None of that information is going to get back to WSPS, WSIB, or the Ministry of Labor Training and Skills Development. It all remains private based on the conversations that you have with your expert, with the advisor. Okay, so business owner and advisors, there's two different roles here. So the business owner commits to setting aside time to meet with the advisor. They collaborate with the advisor to review existing health and safety measures and determine next steps. To be open to suggestions and new ideas for improving their health and safety, and really to identify and implement action plan items while enhancing their health and safety practices in their business. Now, the advisor's role is to really serve as a resource and a guide for the business owner through the entire program to really assist the business owner in recognizing those workplace hazards and conducting that workplace inspection and showing the business owner how it's done. Um, to help the business owner develop that action plan and follow up and complete the final steps in the program. So you're probably wondering, well, how do I apply for this fantastic program? I will be sending an email after the webinar to Karina and Mishka containing the links to the resources that we discussed in today's webinar, along with the application form for the Small Business Advisory Service. And my contact information will also be attached. So if you have any further questions of this program or anything that I covered today, my contact information will be attached as well. Okay, coming to a close here. So stay connected with WSPS, join our community on social media, get the latest updates on health and safety resources and news. Follow us at WSPS.ca. We're also on X, at LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all kinds of content and resources available for you. We also have a small biz safety podcast with over 40 episodes that have been pre recorded and ready to listen to. We follow what's trending in the news, specifically in the small business community. And some of our featured past episodes include what to expect during a ministry inspection visit. We have an episode for new Canadians and temporary foreign workers to learn about tips to overcoming that language barrier and cultural barriers. And we have all kinds of new multilingual resources that can really help you understand have your workers understand those common hazards in different languages. We have one for first aid requirements for Ontario businesses. And I believe in our latest episode, we talk about crime and violence prevention in retail businesses. As we can see on the news, unfortunately, there's a lot of that happening, which is very sad. So certainly subscribe and listen to your favorite podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from. Okay. I definitely want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for your time for attending this session. We really value your feedback and would love to hear your thoughts to better understand your needs and really enhance our resources. If I could just ask everyone just to take a quick moment to scan the QR code that they see on the screen right now. It's going to take you to a very brief survey, a couple of questions long. Your responses are going to be kept confidential and will be presented in aggregate form. And again, they're just really important for us to understand, are we meeting your needs? Are there resources that we haven't covered? How can we support the small business community along their health and safety journey? So I'm just going to take a brief moment here, take a pause, have you do that, and then we'll get to the questions.
Stella, thank you so very much actually for providing us with such comprehensive resources that are so critical to each and everyone who's here with us in attendance. I think the wealth of knowledge that you have brought forward has been really, really well received. Now, I'm not sure how long the session evaluation takes, but probably just about a minute or two.
Yep.
Are you all right that while people are filling this part out, that we actually can move into our Q&As just to make sure that we get to all the questions we have?
Absolutely. Maybe I'll stop
Right.
sharing my screen. That might be easier too.
Yeah. No, it's actually, this is wonderful. So there's a couple of questions. Some of them are a bit more generic about the challenges and barriers that employers are experiencing in just implementing effective health and safety like practices. But I want to come and actually start out with some very practical questions and applications that have come forward. And one of them is related to the updated Bill 190. And the question is, what documents are now needed to be posted on one's health and safety board after the updated Bill 190? The Bill 190 is the Working for Workers 5 Act from 2024. And that states that materials can be posted electronically at the same time. And this actually is a really good question because it leads into a couple of questions that have come forward that are related to working from home, as we're fluid in where we're working from these days. So just, let's start out with the first one of what is needed to be posted.
Sure, absolutely. So I talked about our small business center, and under our small business center, we have posting requirements. So there is a topic for posting requirements, and it tells you again, based on the size of your organization, the requirements are different. So a smaller organization that has 1 to 5 employees will have very different requirements than someone that has, say, over 50 employees. So there are certain requirements that definitely need to be posted on your health and safety board. Have a look at them. These include things like the WSIB poster, what to do in case of an emergency or an illness. There's the Ministry of Labor's poster that needs to be posted, the Occupational Health and Safety Act, which I mentioned as well. So there are specific posters, information that definitely need to be posted. As far as Bill 190 goes, yes, a lot of us are working from home, as I am myself. Where WSPS is remote first. So you definitely need to have the same information posted, but instead of a health and safety physical board, you now need to have them posted virtually. So on an internal hub where everyone can access the information. So it's important to not only post that information, but to also communicate that with your employees. This is where you're going to find our health and safety policy. This is where you're going to find our workplace inspections. This is where you're going to find contact information. So the information is the same, just posted in very different places because of the environment that we now work in, right?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so very much. That is helpful. And actually, it's already addressing two of the questions that have come in. The second question was also related to working remotely, and that is the need for first aid kits. So that is the question that has come forward. We know in workplaces, we know the needs that exist in physical offices, retail spaces, workplaces that we have. But this
Yeah.
specifically is saying, like, what and how do we support workers who are working from home?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously the hazards will be different, right? So we're no longer in an office where all of us are coming together, where accidents and injuries could happen. So yeah, the requirement is a little bit different for first aid, to be honest with you. I think it's all about working healthy and safe at your workstation. So making sure you don't have those trip hazards, making sure that you don't have those musculoskeletal disorders happening, right? Making sure your workstation is set up. So the requirement is very different when it comes to first aid. I probably would have to look into that a bit of a deeper dive, but it's still very important to have. You also should have certified workers as well. We have certified workers as well because not only are you working remotely at home, but there are times where you still do go to the office once a week or twice a week. So you need to have those certified workers, and because there are times when we are in the office, amongst everyone, and you definitely need to know what the protocols and procedures are.
Yeah. And the last question related to the remote work, and then we can move on from there, has been this question of are employers required to do workplace inspections when it comes to people or for individuals working from home? And I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, see, it's a little bit different too, right? Because we're all working from home, we're all working differently. So, again, working from home, you definitely want to make sure your workstation is set up, you don't have any tripping hazards, and all that. But again, some of us are going to do to the office once a week or twice a week. And yes, workplace inspections are certainly required if you're going to that hub where everyone goes, because you want to make sure that there's no tripping hazards or any kind of hazards that anybody can hurt themselves. So yeah, so things have pivoted a little bit, right, when it comes to a remote work environment, for sure.
Yeah. Moving off on this one, although anyone else in attendance has a question related to it, we most definitely are committed to getting to it. But there was another question that has come forward. What is the role of the health and safety rep when dealing with the advisor?
When dealing with the, Small Business Advisory
Yeah.
Service? Oh, okay, well, they could definitely have so the Small Business Advisory Service, we're really connecting the small business owner with the advisor, but the health and safety representative can absolutely have a play in this, right? So it's all of us coming together, collaborating, understanding, what the hazards are in the workplace, how to mitigate those hazards, to implement action plans and close those gaps. So absolutely, a health and safety representative can certainly play a part in the Small Business Advisory Service.
Excellent. Thank you. One of the thoughts is that what are and businesses, small businesses especially, are faced with so many challenges each and
Mhm.
every day. When you talk to small business, what are the most common challenges small business face in implementing effective health and safety practices?
Yeah, so I talk to small businesses all the time, and I understand that a small business owner, health and safety isn't first and foremost. It's not their number one priority. Their number one priority is really about making their business a go. Am I generating revenue? Do I have the proper staff? Do I have the proper materials? What other challenges do I have in my workplace? So we absolutely understand that health and safety isn't first and foremost when it comes to small business, but it's important, it's mandated, and this is where we're here to help you. So it's basically educating the small business owner as to, what the legal requirements are, what does the law say, where to find those free resources, and really to support them along their way. I like to chunk it out for small business owners. I don't like to overwhelm them because they don't know where to start. They're like, what do you mean I need a health and safety representative or a joint health and safety committee? What do you mean I need a health and safety policy? Where do I go? What do I do? So I like to just take little baby steps with a small business owner. Oftentimes, like I said, I have them start with a health and safety awareness free training e-course. It's a 45-minute free e-course, and it really gives you an in-depth understanding of basic health and safety, where to start. And then we go from there, right? We start implementing. I showcase the small business center. I showcase our free tools and templates and resources. We get their staff trained on appropriate training. So yeah, so we understand it's not priority. We definitely are here to help small business owners, and we like to do it in little steps, not overwhelming them in the process.
Yeah, it's so much appreciated. And I think especially you offer so many safety resources, digital tools, and technology to help businesses manage health and safety and being compliant at the same time. So when we hear this and when businesses hear it, so one of the questions that has come forward is, what is the anticipated time commitment on their end? Is this something like that they need to look at every week, once a month, a couple of hours a week? What's the time commitment from a management point of view, but also from an employee's point of view?
Yeah, so it would definitely differ depending on the size of the organization, how many employees you have, and do you have a dedicated person who's actually looking at health and safety on a regular basis. So the time frame can definitely vary, certainly, but you definitely need to spend some time. And like I said, you just kind of chunk it out. So looking at the health and safety awareness training, let's get that all done. Let's get all the employees, all the workers, all the supervisors done with that. Then do we need a health and safety policy? Perhaps the next week. Okay, so we need to implement a health and safety policy. Where's the template? What does that look like? Who do I need to communicate this with? Who do I need to train? So, health and safety is certainly living and breathing in your organization at all times, and it's ongoing. It's not a one and done. And oftentimes, small business owners want it to be a one and done, but it's not. So, it's just a matter of just taking some time, whatever you can spare, I guess, and really making it a priority to focus on some of those important tasks in your workplace.
I think you really very well speak about the idea that we need a foundation. Every business needs the foundation of a commitment to health and safety programs and to create that culture within the organization, which I think is key to it. And then after that, once, say, like that foundation is in place, the programs are in place, what does it take for them to be up to date on changing regulations? So one of the things we do here at the GNCC, we utilize our daily update, which is a daily newsletter that goes out to business to keep them up to date on regulations, because they change all the time. They might impact a business, and that is something that really we are committed to providing to our members at all times. But how can a small business, in addition to actually checking in with their Chamber of Commerce or being part of the daily update, of receiving that information, how can they keep up to date with the health and safety programs and changes in regulations?
That's a great question. Yeah, there's many different ways you can do that. Again, I listed some of the resources that we have available. You could certainly subscribe to our e-news, where we'll send you all those regulations and those updates, so you're definitely on top of things that are changing every day. I think that communicating with your staff on a regular basis. So as you're checking in with your staff, make health and safety part of the topic, right? Have like a health and safety 5-minute talk about whatever might be trending in the news, right? For example, crime and prevention, or slips, trips, and falls, or snow removal, or working in cold temperatures. So that type of thing. So I think you constantly need to be like communicating in maybe bite-sized amounts with your staff on a regular basis, whether that's via email or part of your team connect or part of a coffee chat. It's definitely important to continuing that conversation on a regular basis, for sure.
Yeah, I actually so fully agree with you. So thank you so very much. So normally, Stella, what we do is when we come to the end of a webinar, we give it back to the presenter, in this case to you, for maybe like a minute of just maybe mentioning something that you wish you would have mentioned or could have mentioned, or something that you have presented and just want to emphasize.
Yeah, goodness. Like I said, like I try to showcase some of our free resources, and we have so many. I didn't want to overwhelm the crowd by showcasing all of the free resources that we have, but we definitely have a lot of resources. And again, I would just say to you, start at the basics. Spend some time with health and safety. Spend some time on our small business center, looking at the size of your organization and what you need to implement based on the size of your organization. And please feel free to contact me. My contact information is going to be available at the end of the webinar. This is my job. My job is to help small business owners understand compliance regulations and what they need to have in place. I'd be happy to help you navigate the Small Business Center to help find the right tool and resource for you. So please don't hesitate. We're certainly here to provide you support along your journey.
Stella, thank you so very much for the wealth of insights that you've been able to share today, and for making it so easy for small businesses actually to be compliant and ensuring that their team is safe and healthy, and all of that contributes to the sustainability of any business and organization. I also want to express my thanks to YMCA Niagara for their partnership on our Lunch and Learns, and to everyone today in attendance. Thank you for joining us over this lunch hour. If you have a topic that you would like to see us focus on with a expert or keynote speaker, just let us know. You can reach us at info@gncc.ca at any time, and we would love to hear from you. So on that note, thank you for joining us and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.